Okay, now to everybody and all participants. If you hear my voice, can you come to this room once again? You can take coffee break inside this room and start the session. It's very, very interested and wonderful of the topic with to the program with GIS and open data platform. Please welcome the moderator, Dr. Damrong Ris. Please welcome.
Thank you for the introduction and welcome the panelists. I think like it's very good time that we discuss today, and we have the comfortable environment here. And I would like to start something with something that you are very comfortable with. So it's something that you have been done from the past until now. Maybe I start. I'm not sure that you. I think like you know all the panelists, and I think like we can make some kind of introduction. Something like you have, as I mentioned before, something that you have done from the past until now. Professor Chibasuki, could you please like share your current activities or what you have been done? Just for our information, and we can discuss in more detail. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introducing me. I'm Ryosuke Shibasaki, professor of the Center for Spatial Information Science at the University of Tokyo. And my major is something like a geospatial analysis and also the application development by integrating the satellite data, mobile GPS, or the GIS data, or whatever. So in that sense, what we have done so far is basically the technology development to actually help people solve some social the issues. And also at the same time, in my understanding, the topic of today is on the something like a data platform. And Japan also has its own platform, but not very governmental. But anyway, I'm a kind of one of the advisors to the kind of promotion of something like a business of that platform. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much.
So maybe we continue with Kun Prasong. Yes, maybe you can introduce your activities, what you have done, and maybe your journey as the entrepreneur and your business.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Damrong Ris. Thank you to having me in this panel. My personally is actually just a geographer who have their own business to running the mapping platform. We have our own platform based on the open source software. Actually, we also have like a partner with the open source community like OSCO Thailand, OSCO Japan, and OSCO Korea, something like that. We do a lot of projects in Thailand about the geospatial projects. Mostly, we supported the government sector. So this is the basic thing about our company and me. Thank you.
Maybe my last panelist, Kun Piyawat from Thaicom, the big name in Thailand and maybe internationally. Can you introduce the Thaicom activities at the moment?
Yeah. Good morning and thank you for this session. My name is Piyawat, Chief Commercial Officer from Thaicom Public Company. We doing for the satellite business for 30 years, and we launched satellite for a satellite, and also just recently also about we plan to have let's say like for the new satellite in the slot also. Our business is on the broadcast and broadband satellite, and this one is as you may know also that last 20 years also we are the first one till now also that is a breakthrough for the broadband satellite. That is our experience also why I have let's say like a lot of let's say like some dream also in the 20 years back that the Thailand can send the biggest satellite or the name of IPSAT or Thaicom 4. That one is a broadband satellite. As 20 years back also we just using for the ADSL with the 256 kilobit per second or 512. But that our dream also at that time is we can upload for download for 4 megabit per second and upload for, let's say, like 1 megabit per second. That's why I think that this dream still continue in Thailand and also for the country. Yeah, thank you.
So I think like all the panelists and their background and activities. Maybe we can start with the session that we can discuss with the data platform. Maybe I start with you first, Kun Priyawat. What is your idea on data platform and how you gonna make it integrate in your business in Thailand?
Thank you for the question. That I think that the satellite is a part of the, let's say, like in the ecosystem. I think satellite has been doing a business since the World War II, and Thailand have been in this business for 30 years, and we see this one that the new frontier also and about the space is coming. As I see also that the supporting for, let's say, like PPP also make the new business also the startup, even though for the big name also like Starlink also it's coming. I think the biggest breakthrough is coming, let's say, like capitalization and also for the launch cost also. This bring the satellite and also the space come to, let's say, we can accessible and addressable also. And the second thing I would like to add this here also that Thailand not doing for the satellite only, that we define our vision and vision also to be the space tech company, but we don't do all also in all the spectrum, but we do as a collaboration. Because why this one? I would like to thanks to the GISDA also. One thing that in my view that in terms of the country or in terms of the knowledge production, we have something in the past also called like a knowledge production that come from government and also institutional and also industry. But right now also it's come to, let's say, like they call like a quadruple knowledge production. That is come with the last thing about the environmental. That's why I think this one is come to, let's say, like for the satellite and the space is come to, let's say, like in integration. That I think this one also the Thailand also redefine ourselves also, not for only the satellite. Satellite is only the communication or for the broadcast. But in terms of the ESG or sustainable also development right now also is pushing this one. And also the data analytic or geospatial data analytic also is come in the picture. And GISDA also come to be, let's say, like a key agency to provide and support for the development. I think all this one is come to my conclusion that space is come to, let's say, like we can access and we can use this one, and this one is a meaningful for the country development. All the thing that the previous session also said about the weather, right? I think this one weather forecast that is a very crucial and important for the country. And I happy also to hear that we have a GNSS in Thailand more and more also about this one. That's why I think that right now data is need to be open access and accessible to everyone also. And this can come to be in the key player on this one. And Thailand also will support and do collaboration about this. Thank you.
I think like you emphasize the importance of integration. Not only like one sector can do all. And I believe that like the private sector can drive the way of integration and data platform in many ways. Professor Shibasaki, do you have any comments on the data platform in addition, especially the academic side?
Yeah, anyway, thank you very much again. And data platform, this word sounds very attractive, especially someone wanted to promote the application of the different data. But for example, when you look back upon kind of history of Japan, the JAXA and also the Japanese government have had several attempts of establishing a satellite data platform. But usually those platform is based on the stovepiped ideas. It's something like please use JAXA dataset or Japanese dataset through this data platform. But apparently diversity of the satellite from single data providers are not enough to meet the requirements or the demand of the diverse users. And so then around 4 or 5 years, probably 5 years ago, different concept arises. Let's establish a kind of shopping mall of the satellite data. In other words, the satellite data in that shopping mall are not just limited to the JAXA data or Japanese company data, but that mall should provide a diverse satellite images so that the users can choose any data, any tools, or whatever to develop or to meet their demand for developing the applications. But still, of course, that is a kind of concept. And the real development have started 5 years ago. And after the 3 years period of the development, the platform was launched. But as you could easily imagine, the 3-year development is not enough to become a real shopping mall. But there are several vacant places, and also the diversity of the satellite data is a little bit limited. And also at the same time, many of the users uses not only the satellite data, but data of the ground, on the ground, something like a GIS data or the mobile data or whatever. So at this moment, that platform called Terus seems to have still some limitations. Yeah, so but anyway, they are continuing the efforts. And also the more importantly, what I needed to emphasize is that platform is driven by or developed by private company. Although the initial investment or development was financially supported by the Ministry of, not space, but the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, because that is a part of the kind of industrial promotion development in the field of the space. Yeah, so anyway, that is a kind of current status. And yeah, so anyway, I have observed and got some sort of the findings, but probably I could share such sort of issues later in a little bit more detail. Yeah, thank you so much.
I think like you give me and you give us the keywords like shopping malls, right? And I think like it explain a good way of explanation to the data platform that we can see. And I'll come back to the shopping mall later on. But I think like we can have the same question to Kun Prasong of your experience, because in the same question of data platform, you have been working with us for the promoting of new startups, and also you have the success story as the new company also. How you gonna make another comments to the data platform in the same questions?
Thank you for question. Actually, Sensei give me the good ideas about the data platform. In fact, the data platform should not only the satellite. It can be anything about the geospatial, even on from space to the ocean. That we have to concerning some data sets we don't have any idea to get the value from that, like the ocean data is like a misleading. This is a good idea. Actually, I have the presentation, but I think it's too long. Probably I can chop and might be better. In terms of data platform, we have to concerning about the FAIR principle. Actually, FAIR principle is not the new concept of the data platform. This came from the OGC, the Geospatial Consortium. They're declaring the FAIR principle to us, to anyone around the world to follow this principle. If we can follow this principle, we can make anything, everything, even the data or even the application or mostly data become to the open. Okay, the FAIR principle start from FAIR. This is basic things. If you would like to be the open platform, open anything since the data to the analytic ready data or ARD, or the further data to IRD, to interpreted ready data. Most data, you have to follow the FIRE principle. First, you have to make it findable. Make any way to make it findable. Second thing is you make to let it make accessible. Third thing is that you have to make it interoperable. So if you combine the three things, F, A, and I, it's become reusable. So you don't need to worry about the duplicating the data or the privacy data or the untrust data. This is the principle. Our company, we doing platform and doing project with the government. We try to encourage them to following this principle as a basis. This is our ideas.
I can see the another keywords like FAIR, right? And also I see like the same idea of the private sector working with the government for the data platform. I think it is you three of you are talking in the same way that not only the government but also private sector, they are working in the different function, but also going to in the same way, not only in Thailand, maybe also in Japan. I think like we have to think also about because we are in MGA, we are in the location-based service. We are talking about location. คุณประสงค์ how do you think about the integration of data? Meaning that we are looking for the service applications. We are not looking like just only one, right? In now in the real world. How do you see like the GNSS data, Earth observation data, or any data working together in the data platform?
Okay, I read about the research from the Euro Consult. They give us the ideas about the growth of the data and the growth of the applications. So as the sensei gave us the ideas about the open data is not only the satellites, it's everything about the data, since the location data or the ground data, something, etc. The values of the market in the the value of the market in the satellite business is about $4.6 billion in 2021, and probably go to like 16 billion. I'm not sure, but it's grown almost double in terms of the value of the data. And also the major segment is used to be the defense segment. The data from satellites and the GNSS probably typically is focusing on the defense department. But in the next 3 years or 5 years after this, the segment of the defense probably is smaller, and the other segment may be like take more the percentage of the market share. It's mostly on the natural resources, and the application is become to the location based. This is the key things. Beyond the defense, the natural resources probably is support or the solves the problem on the SDG issues. All that thing have to use like a location based data, not only from the satellites, it's from the GNSS data as well. Segment may become bigger and bigger in next 5 or 10 years. I'm quite sure.
Okay, and I think like you seeing that the growing of data is like the way that the government or any sector cannot avoid to have like the same or integration of data because of data is too much and too big. I think it in the same question to Professor Shibasaki, yeah, right? GNSS data, Earth observation data, are they integrating in? You mentioned about Telus. Are they well organized in Telus of these two data, for example, or another data?
And yeah, actually, the for the data integration on the platform, the GNSS, in other words, the kind of real-time location and the timestamp information of the data is really important because once every kind of sensor data or IoT data or whatever has an annotation of location time, those could be very easily integrated geospatially and helps a lot to actually facilitate the data findings and the data connection or association or whatever. Yeah. So in that sense, the GNSS or location of data and also the satellite images or the other kind of space data could be relatively easily integrated as a kind of low-level data layer. But in many cases, the application requires a little bit higher or more abstract level of the data. That is, for example, when we look at the land use data, grid-based, and the land use data may be painted red, blue, green, or whatever. As long as we just share the land use data as an image, that would be just fine. But for the real application development, we have to know that the red means commercial area, or blue means water, and the green means some sort of the cropland or forest. And unfortunately, among the different organizations or ministries, that definition of the land use types may not be always standardized the same. So the name lists in problems might be a little bit difficult to solve in a short period of time, but nevertheless, the location and the position and timestamp seems to be anyway kind of quite powerful. Yeah, well, that would be a kind of basis of the platform or kind of data integration.
So I think you touched in the way of government agencies. I think like the consensus between the agencies. I think it is the point of shopping mall also that I would like to come back.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So how do you think like the government agency should act for this
Sorry?
kind of the government agencies or the government, how they should react to this kind of
I see.
problems?
Okay. And actually, the standardization of the name list is not the easy task. And also, probably it's not necessary to achieve. In other words, the individual name list is developed historically based on some sort of the specific purpose of application. And the individual organizations cannot change their task or mission easily. So then what we have to do, what they have to ask them to do would be, let's say, establish a link between this commercial area definition of the Ministry of Land is partially associated with this business area definition of the Ministry of Industry or whatever. It may not be perfect or complete one-to-one correspondence, but anyway, we cannot avoid some sort of the fuzziness of the concept itself. So then we have to live with such sort of the uncertainty to some extent. Otherwise, we have to go through the very long discussions and arriving at no actually progress or whatever. Yeah, that is kind of, we also had such sort of history. And also even nowadays, we repeat it sometimes because the governmental agencies really like a word like standardization.
Okay. Maybe I asked could be what do you think about the government work and standardization as the Professor Shibasaki just mentioned?
For this one, that let me think one thing that is the first question is come, let's say like the data is coming all around, right? That's why we said about big data. Second one also that in Japan is the case for the use case is quite solid. I tell you frankly, this one. The integration on this one, not only from the satellite image or land classification, but this one integrated to, let's say like in the mobile and in terrestrial also. That's why the key point on this one that is come to, let's say, use case, or we want to see about the customer behavior or insight. One thing that we found, for example, some application that government can use also, even though we talk to the governor of Bangkok also. For example, like COVID, before COVID, during COVID and past COVID also, we see some, let's say like Jatuchak market, that we see integrated the information coming from the satellite and also the terrestrial. We see, let's say like the people or the customer or visitor is come to the area in the Jatuchak market, how much percentage they drop and what location that they're often visit. That's why this one can help the government also how to improve, even though for the rental fee also, and how to manage this one, right? That's why I say that this platform just up to, let's say like people or the customer base that you want to address. In Japan also that they address this one to help for, let's say like assessment for the project development also, and see this one like in the retail market. I think Thailand also starting to do on the integration on this one. That's why I said development of the project and also integrated for all information coming to in the real use case. Even though for the insurance in Thailand, starting to consider this information also similar to Japan. Thank you.
So I agree very much with the Kun Piyawat, because this time we working with the Ministry of Health and the government during the COVID pandemic, in the high, I mean, a period of tension of the pandemic period. And we can see that for this kind of situation, people trying to share the data, open data. So it depends on people, as you mentioned, and depends on the customer, depend on the situation. So it's not about technology, it's about people, I think. So the coming to this point about people, we have to talk about capacity building for sure, because even we talk about the integration of data, even we talk about standardization, but it's come to, as Kun Piyawat mentioned, it's about people. And if people don't really interest or pay attention, so it's useless. So as the academic side, Professor Shibasaki, how the capacity building is in preparation for this kind of data platform and the utilization of data platform. How is the capacity building could be, and how we are ready for that?
Yeah, thank you very much. And even from the viewpoint of academia or the higher educational institutions, the development of the platform is a very good opportunity. Because, for example, when we train or teach the GIS or remote sensing or whatever, especially through the hand-on training, the most tedious or time-consuming part would be to collect the appropriate data for some specific training courses. So once we could have access to the platform, I expect that such sort of the part can be so much facilitated. In other words, students could learn very naturally, let's say, how the data integration environment is really useful. And also they could naturally understand how the stovepiped approach is not very comfortable, or as a result, of course, it cannot be so feasible anymore. Yeah, so I think that would be kind of very good opportunity for us, even for students, to learn naturally kind of value of collaboration or anyway, cooperation for the data integration. Yeah.
to ask the same question to the Kun Prasong and Kun Piyawat. Do you see our students or international student or capacity building is ready for data science, data analytics today?
Actually, I totally agree with the Professor Sensei. I probably I focusing on the collaborations. This is most important to build our workforce capacity to be like a more advanced in terms of the technology users or data analytics user, or even become like a geospatial data science. I saw one point. They have many perspective to make a better capacity buildings to the workforce in the university, or even in the workforce in the industrial. Data access is one point. We have to let them freely, or not free data, freely access the data, and the collaborations. In terms of collaborations, most easily if we have like collaboration inside the university. I probably I give you the one ideas. I have my friends. She was the dean of the School of the Architectures. She makes a new workshop, or like a small workshop, like a 1 year or something, to collaboration between the architecture and the medical science. In terms of the designs of the accessibility in the hospital, or designs of the material to use in the hospital. Okay, in terms of the size, probably don't care about the use experience. Architectures can give that the ideas. More than this, they also have collaboration with the School of Engineering and Architecture together. Okay, if we look at back into the geospatial students or younger in the type, we still on the geography basics. We don't have any good collaborations. Okay, if we would like to build the good data science in terms of geospatial, you have to collaboration with the other departments in the university. This is we have to do inside the university first. And for the outside, for the external part, the governments and business have to work closely. I totally believe if we would like to make like a better workforce, or better like a outcome from our industrial, I totally believe we must have like three panels, three people to related: university, governments, and private sector have to working together. That's what my idea.
Okay, so you emphasize of the collaboration, and maybe what we call helix of collaboration, and you mentioned also the quarter helix of collaborations. Couldn't be what you have anything to add about capacity building?
I think thanks for this question. Is it's very important for, let's say, like not only my generation, right? I think that clearly that if you ask is enough, I said not enough. But if you ask, let's say that the talent people also that they need to have address something, I said that the evolution of the in the history also, I think this one is they come to, let's say what they call like a techno-socio-economic paradigm. That's why I think technology bring in. And right now the technology as we touch right now is compared to last 20 years or 100 years is just so different. You can accessible to everywhere also, to every university in the world also. That's why the knowledge is you can access and you can generate. But the problem on the GIS side or geospatial is quite, let's say, something that we sometimes we so-called it's not come to transdisciplinary method, but this one is come to philosophy, maybe just like a multidisciplinary. That's why I think that only the data scientists that they graduate, but they don't have a real case or use case, is might not be, let's say, fit in the day one. And second one also, as I see also in terms of the institutional, let's say clearly that the private sector is come to, let's say, like develop the case or some knowledge faster than in the academic. That's why it's compared to last, let's say, 20 years or at my age also is different. That's why we see the something that happened faster from the commercial side. Uh, for example, recently that they have a startup conference in Singapore in October. One we saw about the ESG, all the startup proposed on the platform basis on the environmental and integrate all the data coming in. That's why I think in terms of the data scientists in the GIS is important, but the collaboration or the use case that to train or have some more perspective is so important. And lastly, also in terms of technology, we may think about the, let's say, like say about Python or something, but I think that this one in terms of library, the intelligence is more and more. And also the low code is coming also. That's why everyone can access and learn on this one. But the how to support to develop this one as a more concrete. For example, like in Thailand, we are frankly saying that we may be shortage on this one and how about 3 years and 5 years from now on, right? Because why? Because of everyone said about the sustainable development or ESG. And that's why for our topic today also is more very important for current and for the future. And that's why it's some to the application also. Thank you.
So I can see that the importance of cooperation, people, and I think like the friends is very important that we working together. So any question on the floor or online? So no from online. The weather is in this room is very cold, so maybe no questions. So thank you very much. I think it's time is up. So thank you very much for the panelists, and I hope that we continue our job and working in hands for the futures of our countries and a better world. Thank you so much.